Jai Mahamaya ki jai, Vishveshvari Mata ki jai, Bole Baba ki jai, Om Ganeshaya Namah, Om Saraswatyaya Namah, Om Shri Mahalakshmiyaya Namah, Om Umaye Namah, Om Devi Bhagavataya Namah. Chapter 1 of the Devi Bhagavatam, retold by Ramesh, Menon. Once more, the Munis of the 6 illustrious families are gathered in the Naimisa, Vana, the sacred forest sanctified for ancient revelations. In their midst sits Sutta, who has learned the Puranas from the awesome Vedavyasa himself. Sunaka, the eldest among the Munis, says, "Profound Sutta, we Brahmanas have come to your feet today in terror of the advent of the Kali Yuga. We have heard that listening to the holy Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of the Devi can free us from samsara, this endless round of births and deaths. Master, we would hear the immortal Devi Bhagavatam from your lips." Sutta says, "Fortunate am I that the wise who want to hear the Puranas from me. Brahmanas, I bow at your lotus feet and at the feet of the Divine Mother of the universe before I begin. Om." Everyone knows that Brahma created the worlds, yet Brahma is born in a lotus that sprouts from Vishnu's navel. Then again, Vishnu rests upon his serpent, Ananta, who lies upon the ocean, Ekarnava. We ask ourselves, from what primal source has this infinite sea come? And we turn for sanctuary to the source, the mother of all things, the Devi. Thus begins Sutta in his voice that is quiet as an ocean deep. He pauses, his eyes shut, his body still. After a moment, Sunaka murmurs, "My Lord Sutta, when we grew afraid of the looming Kali Yuga, we went to Brahma in his palace at the heart of a wondrous Brahma Vana. He plucked a mystic wheel from his mind and cast it down into this world. He said to us, 'Munis, where this wheel falls, there remain until the feral Kali Yuga ends and a blessed Satya Yuga dawns over the world again. The wheel will protect you, for the Kali would not enter into its confines.'" The wheel from Brahma's mind fell here in this Naimisa Vana, and when we entered within its boundaries, the luminous thing melted into the ground like violet fire. So here we remain in this auspicious forest, waiting for the Kali Yuga to end. And we are fortunate indeed that you have come amongst us, Master, to bless our long wait with this precious Purana. Sutta draws a deep breath and his eyes still shut continues. "Hear of the birth of Vedavyasa's son, Sukadeva, who first expounded the Puranas in the world, as he heard it from his father. Once Vedavyasa, the son of the fisher girls Satyavati, sat in his ashram on the banks of the golden river Saraswati when he saw 2 sparrows feeding their newly hatched chick. Never had Vedavyasa seen such adoration in any living creatures as he saw in those 2 parent birds as they thrust the food they softened in their own beaks into their child's gaping mouth. Never had he seen such love, such ecstasy, such devotion. Vedavyasa thought, if these sparrows, who will never see their child again once he can fly, love their young ones so much, how much more will a man who expects the world of his son? Surely to caress and nurture one's own son is the greatest joy that exists in this world. Moreover, how can a man die in peace unless he has a son to whom he can leave his wisdom and his earthly possessions? A son who will touch fire to his corpse and perform his last rites so that his soul can rise up to the heavens. Vedavyasa decided that no man can be fulfilled unless he has a son, and his mind turned to how he himself could become a father without delay. The good Muni set out for Mount Meru to perform tapasya, so he would be blessed with a son. When he arrived on that holiest mountain, he built an ashram for himself, then wondered, which god shall I worship now? Which one will grant me my desire most swiftly? Shall I pray to Vishnu, to Brahma, to Shiva, Indra, Surya, Ganapati, Agni, Kartikeya, Varuna? Suddenly he heard someone softly plucking on a veena and saw that the wandering rishi, Narada, had arrived there, as though by chance. Vedavyasa warmly welcomed Narada, and then they sat together on a darbar asanas. Narada said, Vedavyasa, you seem careworn. Tell me, what troubles you? Vyasa smiled wanly and replied, Muni, the man who has no son leads an aimless life, and I am uncertain which god I should worship to have a son of my own. Narada laughed delightedly. Vedavyasa, Vedavyasa, knower of the ambrosial Purana, once my father Brahma asked Vishnu that very same question. At once, Vishnu lapsed into yoga, a deep trance. Amazed, Brahma said, Lord of the universe, what samadhi are you plunged in? Whom do you worship, O cause of causes? At your word, the sun ranges the sky, fire burns, and the wind blows. I, who am the Lord of creation, was born in lotus sprung from your navel. Vishnu, you are the greatest of all the great, yet here I find you at worship. Who is worthy of your devotion? Vishnu. Vishnu said with a smile on his perfect face, Brahma, indeed you create, I preserve, and Shiva destroys the universes. Yet, without Shakti, the Divine Mother, the three of us would be inert and powerless. Mahashakti, the goddess, is the highest power of all, and she animates the rest of us. It is her I worship, Brahma. Who else? It is by her wish that I incarnate as Matsya and Kurma and Varha, Narasimha, and all the other rest of the incarnations. It is by her will that I once had my head severed and a horse's head set on my neck. There is none I know of higher than Parashakti, and it is upon her that I meditate, said Narada to Vedavyasa, adding, so friend, Vedavyasa, you had also best worship the Divine Mother for your boon. After a while, Narada left, and Vedavyasa, sitting in Padmasana, began to worship the Devi Bhagavati, says Sutta to the Munis of the Naimisa, who were athirst for his Devi Purana. We'll go on with chapter 2. Sunaka's rishis say to Sutta in some surprise, my lord, you say Vishnu's head was severed? We have never heard anything so astonishing in all our lives. Tell us, how did such an incredible thing happen? Sutta smiles. Once, when Vishnu had fought the demons, Madhu and Kaitaba, for 10,000 years without pause, Vishnu grew tired. He sat in Padmasana in the forest. He leaned his head on his mighty bow, Vasaringa, and he fell asleep. Meanwhile, Indra and the Devas, Brahma and Shiva, arrived in Vaikuntha to worship Vishnu, who is their Lord, but they did not find him in his city of miracles. When they sought him in the secret Vana in which he had taken refuge, they found him in the swoon of Yoga Nidra. They sat down around the sleeping blue god and were concerned to see the protector of the universe like that, plunged in a strange stupor. Indra said, how shall we awaken Vishnu from his slumber? Shiva answered, he will be annoyed if you dare to rouse him. But truly, we do urgently need to see him. At which Brahma created a hive of termites called Vamris and loosed them on the bow against which Vishnu rested his head on as he slept. If the insects ate through one end of the bow, the other would rise, dislodging Vishnu's head and waking him. But the Vamris said to Brahma, "How dare we disturb the sleep of the Lord of the worlds? To disturb blessed sleep is a sin equal to tearing a husband from his wife. Moreover, what do we gain by this crime against Vishnu?" Brahma immediately replied, "If you do this, you shall have all the ghee that falls outside the havan kund of the homa for yourselves. So hurry and rouse Vishnu." The greedy Vamris devoured one end of the bow. The bowstring gave way with a report like a star exploding. The sea rose in tidal waves. The mountains shook. Meteors fell screaming from the sky. The sun fell below the horizon, and evil omens filled the four quarters. The alarmed devas saw that Vishnu's head had been severed from his blue neck by the whiplash of the bowstring and was nowhere to be seen. They began to beat their breasts and wail, "Lord Vishnu, invincible one, you have been decapitated today, and we are to blame." Even Shiva seemed stricken, and Brihaspati, who is the guru of the devas and the embodiment of wisdom, advised, "These tears are of no use now. When fate tries us, we must exert our intelligence to save ourselves from danger." But Indra cried, "Fie on your intelligence! Vishnu's head has been struck off by our folly. Ah, fate is all-powerful, and we are helpless against it." Brahma said, "Indeed, fate is unequivocal, and all that are born must suffer. Only Mahamaya, the Devi, can help us now. Let us worship her." Brahma summoned the Vedas who were there, incarnate, and commanded them, "Sing the hymns of the omniscient Bhagavati, the Divine Mother, now." And the resplendent Vedas did so at length, fervently calling out many of her thousands' name. Then they saw, "Bhagavati Mother, are you angry with the ocean's daughter, Lakshmi, that you have killed her lord today? Vishnu's head has vanished like a dream, Devi, and no one but you can make him live again." Then a voice more exquisite than beauty itself spoke to the devas from the sky. "All will be well again." Devas. Golden Vedas. "I am pleased with your worship, but nothing in this universe happens without a good reason." Once Vishnu looked at his wife Lakshmi's face and laughed, and Lakshmi was distraught because she thought he had seen something ugly in her perfect features. She became suspicious that he had another woman, or he would not laugh at her like that. Sorrow turned to wrath as the tamasa guna possessed her. As she cursed him, "May your head fall off," she even thought it would be better to be a widow than have her lord take another wife. It is by that curse that Vishnu's head fell into the salt sea today, and from another curse as well. Once the demon Hatagriva performed a tapasya for 1,000 years. He neither ate nor slept, but chanted my name ceaselessly until at last I stood before him in my tamasic body. I saw he truly loved me, for when he saw me, his eyes filled with tears of joy. I said to that demon, "Hatagriva, I am pleased with you. Ask me for what boon you would like." He said, "Mother, let death never approach me. Let me be invincible against the devas and asuras. Let me be an immortal yogi." Mother said, "Demon, birth follows death, as death does birth. You cannot be immortal. Ask for another boon," said I to Hatagriva. The canny demon replied, "Then Devi, Let me find death only at the hands of one who has a horse's face like me. So I blessed him. Let only a horse-faced one kill you, Hatagriva. Pleased to no end, he went back to his kingdom and ever since has been the scourge of all the living. And no one can kill him because none of the truly mighty has a horse's face. So Devas, find a horse's head, fix it to Vishnu's neck, and let him rid the world of Hatagriva. With this, the invincible Devi fell silent. Indra said to his consummate artisan, Vishvakarman, give the Lord a horse's head so he can kill Hatagriva. Vishvakarman found a fine stallion, severed his head with his axe, and attached the horse's head to Vishnu's throat with sacred mantras. At once blue Vishnu stood up, neighing so loud it seemed the sky would be shattered by that sound. The horse-head god flew at the horse-faced demon, Hatagriva, and tore him from limb to limb, says Sutta once to Sanaka and his munis in the blessed Naimisa Vana. We'll go on with one more chapter. 3. Sunaka asked, Gentle Sutta, you spoke of a long battle between Vishnu fought against the Asuras Madhu and Kaitaba. Tell us about this war. Sutta said, once after a pralaya, the universe lay dissolved in the single primordial sea, Akarnava. Vishnu lay asleep on his serpent bed. The two Asuras, or demons, were born from the wax in the sleeping Vishnu's ears, and they were dreadful to behold. Madhu and Kaitaba grew to manhood in the plumbless Akarnava sea, which are the waters of infinity, containing all places, all ages, and all souls. They grew swiftly and were soon as immense as they were powerful and hideous. They spoke to each other wonderingly, what is this marvelous sea? Upon what foundation does it rest? Who made this ocean, and who made us? Who are her father and mother? But they could find no answers to these questions. One day, from inscrutable initiation, Kaitaba said to Madhu, Brother, the Devi, the Divine Mother, is the cause of this sea, and of us all as well. As soon as these words were out of his mouth, the two Asuras heard the blessed Bhagavatam mantra in the air, the seat of all mantras, who is the Devi Saraswati herself. When that mantra receded, the horrible wax demons began to chant it themselves until in a blaze of lightning above them, they saw the brilliant embodied form of Devi Saraswati. The Asuras chanted on and were one in spirit with the Devi for 1,000 years. At last, this beautiful Devi, the Adi Shakti, was pleased with Madhu and Kaitaba, and an extraordinary voice spoke to them. I am pleased with you, demons. Ask me for whatever you want. They said, Devi, grant that we will only die when we will it ourselves. She said, so be it, and with a hint of a smile. Madhu and Kaitaba's roars of joy shook through their home, the infinite sea, from end to end. They dove under the water in delight and began to play both gently and viciously with the different animals of the deep. They flew up into the air and played with the rainbow-hued birds there. Then one day, Madhu and Kaitaba saw an immense golden lotus in the sky, and sitting in it, steeped in dhyan, four-faced and white-bearded, lustrous Brahma, the sire of everything. The excited demons called out to Brahma, Come, let us fight, or else relinquish your lofty place and flee from us. Brahma flickered all his eyes open and saw the Asuras, each big as 10 merus. He shuddered at how terrible they were and wondered, I am not certain how strong these monsters are. I hesitate to fight them. I think I will rouse Vishnu from his sleep and let him kill them. Brahma plunged down the stalk of the golden lotus and besought Vishnu anxiously, calling him by many of his august names and begging him to quell the arrogant demons. But nothing stirred. It seemed Vishnu had not heard Brahma. Brahma could hear Madhu and Kaitaba roaring for him, so his lotus stem shook like any flower in a gale. Brahma decided Vishnu must be plunged in the Yoga Nidra, the trance of the Devi. He began to worship Adi Shakti, the ancient mother. Bhagavati, you hold Vishnu in your deepest power, so that he does not stir, although I have called his every name with such fervor. Madhu and Kaitaba mean to kill me, Devi, and terror grips my soul. Save me from fear, Mother, or kill me with your own hands. The Devi, in her inert form of sleep, withdrew from Vishnu, leaving in turn his eyes, his mouth, his nose, his heart, and finally his whole body. The blue god, Vishnu, stirred on his serpent bed. He yawned. In moments, Vishnu's form was again as splendid as 1,000 suns, where a short while ago had been muted and quenched. Vishnu opened his lotus eyes and saw Brahma standing before him, trembling. Vishnu spoke to Brahma in a voice like soft thunder. Why have you abandoned your meditation, Brahma? Why do you tremble? Brahma whispered, I am in terror, my life. The demons, Madhu and Kaitaba, want to kill me. Mahavishnu said languidly, fear them no more. I will kill them for you. At that moment, Madhu and Kaitaba arrived there, roaring. The demons trod water easily, and their savage face lit up when they saw Brahma. Madhu hissed, so this is where you have come to hide, coward. Come and fight. We will kill you first, and then this blue fellow lying on the snake. Kaitaba sneered. Either fight or say you are our slave, and we will let you live. Vishnu roared like the thunder of the storm that ends the worlds. Come and fight me, demons. His eyes rolling, Madhu sprang at Vishnu while Kaitaba stood back. They fought on Ananta. They fought on the waves of Ekarnava. They fought under the water and in the sky, furiously striking each other with stupendous blows, the blue god Vishnu and the demon born from his earwax. Brahma returned to his lotus and peered down from its safety at the duel, while Adi Shakti, the Devi, watched from everywhere. The battle was ferocious, and both demon and god tired quickly. Suddenly, Madhu stepped away from Vishnu, and at once Kaitaba sprang forward to engage him. Thus the two demons fought Mahavishnu turn by turn, and at times both together. Vishnu battled the sinister brothers without rest for 5,000 years, and he grew tired. Seeing the god wane, the Asuras crowed in triumph, Vishnu, if you are vanquished, join your palms and raise them over your head to say you are our slave. Otherwise, we mean to kill you first and then to drink Brahma's blood. Vishnu saw the demons treading water easily and replied, no warrior will fight a tired enemy, a frightened one, or one who has no weapons, or a child. For 5,000 years we have fought, and each of you rested while the other one faced me. But I have had no rest, demons, and I am tired. So let me draw breath for a while, and we will fight again. Madhu and Kaitaba nodded their macabre heads solemnly and allowed Vishnu the rest he wanted. They stood back from him, arms folded across their chests like continents, still treading water. Vishnu fell in deep meditation. As he meditated, he learned of the Divine Mother's boon to these demons, to die only when they themselves willed it. The blue god Vishnu was perturbed, for who wants to die even in the direst circumstances? He realized how vain his battle was with the wax demons. Vishnu folded his hands and worshipped the Devi Bhagavati fervently. Mother, I am exhausted, and the demons who have your boon are ready to kill me. I'm helpless, Mother. Please save me. The Divine Mother spoke to Vishnu out of the air. Fight again without fear. Vishnu, I will seduce the demons with a look from my eyes so you can kill them. Vishnu went back to fight, and the demons welcomed him fondly. Soon they began to strike one another again with blows that are beyond describing. Now Madhu and Kaitaba were both rested, and they fought Vishnu together. He quickly found their combined strength more than he could bear, and reeling from their blows, he looked imploringly up to the Devi to save him. She manifested herself before the demon's eyes then, and she was enticement personified. Ah, her red eyes shot shafts of unfamiliar lust at the demons. The enchanted demons had eyes only for the Divine Mother now. They stood gazing at her like men in a salacious dream, aroused past endurance and not knowing what to do. Seeing his chance, Vishnu said, Warriors, I am so pleased with your fight you gave me. I will grant you any boon. Only ask me, demons. Standing before the alluring Devi, the demons wanted to impress her and replied haughtily, Who are you to grant us a boon? We are not beggars that we want anything from you. On the other hand, you ask us for a boon, Vishnu, and we shall grant it to you in our great kindness. Their eyes never left the Divine Mother's ravishing form. Vishnu replied, If you are so pleased with me, demons, grant that I kill you both. At once the Devi vanished, and the demons realized they had been tricked. They hung their black heads, and green tears trickled down their awful faces. Then Madhu had an inspiration. Brightening, he said, We know you never lie, Vishnu. We have need of the boon you promised us earlier. Vishnu said, Ask me, for he had indeed promised. We will let you kill us, but it must be on solid ground where there isn't a drop of water, said Madhu. And of course, there was no dry place in this dissolution. Vishnu said, So be it, and he expanded his thighs so they were a bright, dry island floating upon the sea of Ekanarva. The demons grew so that they were 10,000 yojana each, but Vishnu made his thigh twice as vast. With nothing else for it, Madhu and Kaitaba laid their head on Vishnu's thighs as on an executioner's block, and with his Sudarsana chakra, the blue god struck those heads off their immense trunks in an eruption of gore. And we'll end there and continue with chapter 4 next time. So Jai Mahamaya ki Jai, Bole Baba ki Jai, Vishveshwari Mata ki Jai.